on the current political climate, I'm just saying I want to turn everybody off. I hate politics. It's not real.
You know what my problem is with people like Pharrell is that they'll say things like that. The very next point after it comes some diet MAGA conservative.
All right, y'all. Everybody's saying that Pharrell Williams has gone MAGA. Let's see what they talking about. Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is the channel where you find the true seek understanding and be the light. It's your boy Big Blue. Let's go ahead and just get right into it. So the homie Trevor Jackson at Trevor Jackson TV, go ahead and hit a bump link, is going to be in the description below. He said that apparently Pharrell Williams is saying some crazy stuff in politics. I don't know what it is. I'm searching it up on YouTube. I see a whole bunch of people, not a whole bunch of people, but a whole bunch of reactions and not what he actually said. So I finally went to TikTok and I found somebody that at least plays the video, or at least plays some of the video. I'm not sure if there was all that, or if it was absolutely everything that he was saying as far as that conversation goes. But as young black man, he he gives his 2 cents, but at the same time he allows a video to play. And apparently the topic that Pharrell Williams is bringing up is that he hates politics. Politics is fake. But then he talks about DEI. So if I'm thinking correctly, and let's just see. I haven't checked it out. I just pulled this video up and I pulled up 10 seconds and I saw that it was the actual video. And so I'm like, all right, here we go. So we're doing this live. Let's go ahead and check it out. And of course, because this is live, I'm going to be talking throughout this. So let's see what's going on.
Going on the current political climate, I'm just saying I want to turn everybody off. I hate politics. Like despise them. It's a magic trick that it's not real. I don't believe in either side, because I think when you pick a side, you are inadvertently supporting division.
You know what my problem is with people like Pharrell that claim they're apolitical and they don't like politics, they don't participate, is that they'll say things like that. And the very next sentence after it, the very next point after it, comes some diet MAGA conservative. And I'm going to prove that point because I'm going to play the rest of the clip for you guys. But it's never like some liberal, snowflakey, inclusive ass take. It's always something that really...
Liberal, flaky... Huh? Liberal, flaky, inclusive. Okay.
Speaks to what you really are at the end of the day, which is okay. You're just scared of the community that mostly supports you pushing back on you, which is you're a conservative.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I think everybody, or everybody that isn't too far on one side, has felt that, to where they're like, I don't like politics. The problem is I'm opposite of what is the majority right now. So I'm gonna just say that I don't like politics, even though the majority of what I believe aligns with a certain side that is not the majority. Yeah, so I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that being the case with Pharrell, because for you to say that you don't believe in politics, the division part, yes, because it causes division. And my thought is, like, if we get rid of that aspect of it, then you just have, I don't know, a dictator or like a king or something like that. I don't know. The way that America does things is it's very different from other nations. I mean, it would pretty much be like Europe, I guess. And the question is, do we want that? You want a parliament? You want an oligarchy or whatever the heck they got over there? I don't know. So we have what we have now. Is there a game that's being played? I fully believe that there's a game that's being played. But I also fully believe that the things that's happening, the events that's taking place, the laws that are being passed and stuff like that, that directly affects the world, and how it would be different if it was one party versus another party based off of what their platform was. That's true. That part is definitely true, because there are certain laws that will be put in place where if you do not follow these laws, you will be arrested. If it was 10 years ago and it wasn't a law back then, but it's a law now, you will be arrested. And if it was a law 10 years ago and it's not a law now, like weed, I mean, That was legalized under the Biden administration in a lot of areas. That wasn't legal before. That was changed up. But to Pharrell's point, it's like, what's a game? What's not a game? Are they all messing with us? Are they, this is just, a higher vision type thing. I could see that, but at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know.
An American conservative, and I think you inherently know deep down right now that pool is a bit muddied up, so you can't align with them on certain things. But let's play the rest of the
yeah, no, I mean, and it's crazy because the Republican Party won, yet for some reason I seem to always be around a lot of liberals, and that could be just based off of the area that I'm at. So it's like I still feel the same regardless. Let's go.
Yeah, it's not a popular point of view, but I just gotta say, when I think about it, the wells are drying up, and then, okay, now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there black people here tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best?
And there you have it. Now, I'm not.
What was the issue, though? Because if it is gone now, what's the next plan of action? We just pretend that it never left and we just keep doing what we're doing, or we're gonna change our mindset because we have to. This. I don't understand. What is he gonna say? Okay, let's keep going.
I'm gonna miss.
And the problem that I keep stopping is because I lose my train of thought easily. Like everything that I just said, I'm probably gonna forget. But let's keep going.
Construe Pharrell's point. I'll stop him there because I think that really summarizes what he's saying. He gets into that,
okay.
The things that MAGA and the slowly but surely alt-right can grab and use and say, hey, just like that CK guy. You see, this is what we're fighting against in DEI.
No, we can't say that. We can't say that. I could see why, and this is the problem. I can see why he thinks that, but just because Pharrell said, the main point is, how do we survive? You just sit back and sulk that DEI is gone, or you got to switch up your mindset because at the end of the day, you still got to do what it is that you have to do. You still got to try and get the job that you need to get. You still got to keep applying to other jobs everywhere in every direction, and make and increase yourself, increase your skill set so that you can be able to get a good job. That necessarily isn't a MAGA take. That's just being realistic. When something's been taken away from you, you have to find another way to, continue the race. Continue the race. That doesn't mean the race stops. So I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but that was kind of a reach there. He could say that and still not be MAGA, but you could say that and maybe MAGA. But the thing is, why does he have to be MAGA? He can't just agree with the notion. I'm nowhere near MAGA, but I agree with the notion. I agree that I prefer to be hired by my skill set because I'm doing a job where I'm doing trash at. And if you're at a state where, it's an at-will state, you'll get fired. So it wouldn't matter at the end of the day. But let's keep going. Let's see what he says.
So there's a few counterpoints I just want to point out other than what I've told you guys already, which is, hey, if you're going to get into these talking points, my guy, just stop with the I'm apolitical nonsense, especially in this climate, right? You are what you are. But that point also proves what I need to talk about next with understanding and being able to tell you guys, because I'm pretty fond of Pharrell. Just because people are accomplished in a certain lane or multiple lanes does not mean they understand sociology, does not mean they understand political science in a way they are to in a way that is that everyone should listen to them. They can be quite mistaken. What I need Pharrell to understand, right, is when we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and we have these conversations about being the best and wells drying up. I'm going to start there. The well drying up then speaks to that language because it reinforces the belief of people on that side, Pharrell, that if I put you next to, you would say, I'm nothing like these guys, who sort of imply that without DEI, you wouldn't see qualified qualified people of color, black and brown, in spaces. That is what they're pushing to their audience. They take your type of messaging, mix it up their messaging, and get the dog whistles off, right? And here's something that needs to be said in America, in the rest of the world, about the world and in positions and things like that. And, we need to talk about qualification, okay, versus this notion of being the best. And let's be really, really frank about this, right? And let's also be really frank about why we had or have the push for DEI, right? Even in the cases where people are the best, you have things like DEI, exist, right? Because there are cases when you are more qualified and or better than people that don't look like you, and you still don't get the opportunity. We have to get rid of this notion that people are begging simply because we happen to always not be the best. There are times when we are the best and we don't get the opportunity. There are times when you are just as equally qualified as another person, and if there's no incentive to give your black ass a chance, people won't take that chance. Okay, let's move that out the way. In Pharrell's world,
That may be the one thing that I can say about DEI that is fair. I mean, in the world, when it comes to these high paying jobs, these high qualified positions, yeah, you did well. And that's the thing. Like, even before Trump's administration, even before Biden's administration, it's not like people weren't being hired at high paying levels. I was seeing people get paid and getting jobs that were well above a lot of other people. The thing is, the problem is, when it comes to DEI that was just pushed over these past 4 years, we're seeing a lot of people that aren't really qualified. There are some people that may have been hired based off of DEI and based off of their qualifications and based off of what it is that they've done. If they have some type of accolades that can, push their application, then that's the whole part of merit. If they have a portfolio, if they work with certain companies, these are all parts of merit. So if you have a student that happened to be black and he went to Princeton and he worked at, I don't know, Coca-Cola, and he worked at some other couple other Fortune 500 companies and you see like his position slowly increase and he's applying for your position, why wouldn't you want to hire him? But what he's saying is, if there's another white person that may have somewhat similar qualifications, maybe less, they'd rather go with the white person. The way that the culture is now, especially in the working environment, it's the crazy thing is, it's starting to be less so of what it is that you're capable of, and it's just so if you're teachable, then that's fine. We just need to make sure that you mesh well with the company, with our teams, with what we have, with our environment, with our work culture. If you can mesh well with that, then more than likely, you'll be able to get hired. And majority of the time, from what I've been seeing, or at least with the jobs that I've been applying to, it's less so a matter of, oh, if you're white, then you'll automatically work here. There's been a couple of white people that I've worked with that aren't really, cooperable in a lot of spaces. But do they get the job done? Heck yeah, they get the job done. I was talking to my boy about this last time, where we would in certain situations, depending on the company, we would rather have the person that doesn't talk, that doesn't mesh well with the rest of the company, but can do the job exponentially well. With the DEI, the upside is, black people can actually get a chance at working at jobs. The downside is, now we got a bunch of black. Now there's a possibility that if we hire somebody that's black, they may not meet the qualifications that somebody else of another race may be, which Charlie Kirk was mentioning a lot. On the flip side, we talk about merit. Now everything is merit based, which is good. But then the other side of that is, okay, well, there's a high chance that, they could probably just hire a white person and be like, oh yeah, he's a better fit. Which, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to really justify that nowadays. I've seen so many people in roles in different nationalities and different colors, and it just really just depends on the job. Because honestly, if it was a white, let me put it this way: if it was a black owned company, the owner, the CEO was black, the hiring manager was black, and all that stuff, and there was somebody that was white that was the most qualified, would you have hired him? That's the question. If the answer is no, and really think about this. If the answer is no, we need to have black people here, then you're just as bad as the white people. Some people are not going to like me saying that. But if we're going to be realistic and objective, we got to be fair both ways. Because if we're not looking at it both ways, then now we're looking at a side of now we're being victims. Let's keep going. And I think that's the whole thing with a lot of people that people are claiming are MAGA, that, oh, they're MAGA. They just, sitting here doing everything that Trump said. No, it's the victimhood in your mindset. That's how they got to where they are. They're not sitting here thinking that they're a victim. Really take that in. Let's keep going.
And I find it funny that he's doing something like this as someone as a creative director. You work with LV and things like that. Yes, there are times where maybe these companies are looking for the best. But Pharrell, let's be honest. There are times you're working with brands because you represent a group of people.
Right. You're right.
You may not be better than Jack answered off. Maybe that's a opinion, right? But in terms of qualification, I guess you guys will both be qualified knowing music or whatever. But people are looking for you to direct a certain commercial that speaks to a certain group of people. We got to stop demonizing diversity, equity, and inclusion in a country where the best...
I wouldn't say demonizing. It's just not the best solution.
Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, when it comes to, and I'm going to, I just want to put it all in there for you so y'all can get it, because it's so much we can deep dive on this. The best, if I'm being honest with y'all, chances are they're so far ahead of the pack that the color doesn't even matter, right? Sometimes. Right. Because being a genius, I don't know, chemical engineer that ends up going to a private, Ivy League, there might still be some discrimination versus your white counterpart that got there because his daddy, but he's also a genius. But really, truly, the best, that's a whole nother conversation. Mostly in qualification, we need to have a conversation about how sometimes diversity, equity, inclusion is a plus for a company. And I'll close with this. I know you guys have seen like the viral video of the young black woman that she was going into labor, and that nurse was sitting right there. And you got to take all what I'm saying with a grain of salt. And that nurse is most likely qualified, because if she wasn't qualified, she wouldn't have gotten that position. But who's to say, and not that it's an exact science, but who's to say if there was another qualified nurse that was black that could see herself maybe in that other woman, and or understands, just because, not because she's, taking more humanity classes than other nurses, but just being as part of a community, understanding how black women pain threshold is judged differently, may go, oh, that's not right, would probably act more, and that would be better, act quicker, and that would be better for that hospital. You have to understand that, Pharrell, when you're saying the things you're saying, that group that ends up grabbing and hijacking your message, they're not just taking that surface level thinking that you have, and they're going, okay, yeah, this works. They're using it for an agenda. And Pharrell, that is surface level thinking, because there's no other way to interpret, and some of you may sound being rigid, to interpret this attack against diversity, equity, and inclusion in a world which, for a lot of roles, for a lot of jobs, a lot of positions, qualification is what we're looking for first. And there's a way to measure the qualification, right? So when people become attorneys, doctors, nurses, even, tech guys, whatever, HVAC, plumbing, whatever, we live in a country where you got to go through some stuff to get these positions, and everybody's gonna be new. I mean, remember dude was talking about pilots. It was weird. Everybody's gonna have bumps and bruises. Everybody's gonna have luck here. You're gonna get an opportunity here. A teacher's gonna curve a grade. But we're not talking about jobs where people are just like, yeah, come as you are, like with their Jesus or something, and you can have the job. So Pharrell, if you don't get I'm not even including everything I should include in this video because it's gone long enough. If you don't understand these things, and admittedly you don't participate in the political system, just stay out of it. Stay out of it instead of giving your uneducated MAGA take on something that you're not.
Okay. Like I said, I don't think it was too much of a MAGA take. I think it's just somebody looking from the outside in. It's just because of the side that he was choosing, or not even the side that he was choosing, because of his viewpoint on the situation. Then it then becomes a MAGA take because that's what MAGA believes. Or it could be a MAGA take. He could be completely right, and Pharrell is actually, right leaning. I'm not even going to say MAGA, just right leaning, like I am. Probably center right leaning, but isn't down with the whole politics thing. He just, aligns with certain stuff that, that they practice and, that they're going for. So there's nothing wrong with that. At surface level, there's a lot of people on the left that is very surface level that have absolutely no clue what the heck is going on that the very socialist left has been doing. And not only that, if they knew, then they'd probably change their mind. But again, decisions and knowledge of what's going on. I will say that last part that homie, I can understand where he was going with that when it comes to jobs and just dealing with the mindset of trying to apply to a company and the idea of being black. But I think it really just boils down to your mindset. If a company doesn't hire you, there's another company that will. You just got to keep on. And that's the thing. We have to let go of that mindset that nobody's going to hire me because diversity, equity, inclusion is gone. And keep forth the mindset that I'm going to get this job. I'm going to get that job. I've worked for everything that I'm doing. Because honestly, all of us are racist to a certain degree. If you're going to work somewhere, you already know who you're going to pick. You already know who you're going to hire. You already know what it is that's going on. If you need somebody that's in sales, what am I going to do? I'm going to hire a white woman. Why? Because white women are, and even then, I'm going to be very specific on how she looks to look the part. Exactly what he was saying when it comes to movie acting. If you can look the part for the role that I need you to do, then I need you to do it. We do this everywhere. Why is it that we have so many Indians in tech that are working at these tech companies? You go to whole departments and the whole department is Indian. Why? Because they're diligent with their work and they know what they're doing. You don't really see white people doing it that much. Well, that's because Indians do it better. You don't see black people doing it that much. That's because Indian people do it better. What roles are black people getting? They're good in. They're good at project management roles that I've been seeing. Project management roles, a lot of times some managerial roles and stuff like that. But the thing is, when we're looking at specific races, you can say, I would want a white person that does this. I want an Asian person that does this. I want an Indian person that does this. When it comes to building, I want a Hispanic person that's doing that. But the problem is when it comes to black people, it's like, what is it that black people do exponentially? And this is a genuine question because I just want to know, what is it that black people do exponentially well to where people be like, I want a black person that does this. And again, you may see that this is all racist and stuff like that. This is a racist mindset. This is what people do subconsciously, especially when they're hiring, which is why they have diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that people can be like, okay, yeah, let's actually be cognizant that there's other races that could possibly do this job. But then now we're going to the whole merit-based thing. It's like, all right, let's actually look at what everybody's doing here, kind of have a blind eye on all of these people and who they are and kind of just go off of what it is that they can do. But homie does have a good point, which I'm glad that he said that. When it comes to certain areas, when it comes to certain fields, you want a diversity so that you can have that different perspective, so that you can have the different relation. If you're dealing, especially from a customer facing standpoint, you want to be able to have those that can reach out and, have that relation with people of a specific race. At the end of the day, I see nothing wrong with Pharrell said. Is it kind of surface level? You could say that. He probably doesn't go into politics that much, and he only knows only surface level stuff. He probably agrees with some of the stuff that MAGA says versus what the socialist left says. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point. And I mean, and that's the thing, all he was doing was being encouraging, regardless of the situation. When we're looking at the core of it, there's a way of doing something that benefited us. Now with that way being taken over and it's replaced with something else, what are you going to do from that point? Adjust, because it's not coming back. You adjust and you do what it is that you can so that you can continue the way that you're going. I think that's ultimately what Pharrell was saying. That's ultimately where a lot of people that have this same mindset, same like me, is feeling, because I got to where I'm at because I was encouraged by those that were in higher positions to just keep pressing forward. Stop worrying about what this person's saying, what that person's saying, what these group of people are saying, and how people are viewing you. Just do you the best that you can. Somebody's going to take notice and put you on. That's my take. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.